Welcome to Data Popcorn, Spring 2026 edition. My name is John Miner. I'm a senior data architect and also a 10-time MVP award winner from Microsoft. Today I'm going to be talking about seeding tables with the data build tool known as dbt. Let's talk about some background on dbt. It's an open source project that helps engineers transform existing data in their warehouse. It does not extract data from source systems and load it into your warehouse. It's just there to transform. The framework is written in Python and has two types of files for translations. First is SQL scripts and or YAML files. The real power comes from the fact that adapters have been written for many target database management systems. To talk about a topic like this, we need to have a sample database. I went and used AI to generate some tables. The books table, the loans, and members table are all part of the library schema, and we have three sample CSV files. Today's agenda. We're going to learn how to deploy an Azure SQL database and create both a login and user that has access to the database. We're also going to learn how to configure Visual Studio Code for dbt. Last but not least, we're going to initialize a dbt project, copy those CSV files into the project, and use those CSV files to seed tables. Because I do not have much time, I've written most of the steps down for you to review at a later time when you play around with this project. This Create Azure SQL Database has the code to actually create the database. The first step is to create the library database from master. Next thing is to create a new logon. I'm using service count 02. Then change your location to the library database and create a user for logon, and then give the logon DB owner access because we're going to be creating tables, views, and many different other objects in the database. How do we configure Visual Studio? Well, the second text file tells us what we need to do. We need to download Visual Studio code. Then we need to install Python 3.7 or higher. If you want to check it into a repo, we want Git installed. For configurations, we need to enable the dbt extension from the extensions library, and then we need to open up a project directory. Last but not least, we need to pip install dbcore, which is the core Python library for dbt, as well as the adapter dbt SQL Server. To initialize the project, we need to do db init library. Then we need to follow the prompts and it'll create a profiles.yaml file. This file tells it how to connect to SQL Server, or in our case, Azure SQL Database. Last but not least, to test if changes to the profile, we type dbt debug. All transactions that are done by the framework show up in the log file. Last but not least, how do we seed table data? We first need to copy the files over to the seed folder. Then once the files are there, we need to execute dbt seed from the terminal window. This will try to load every single CSV file in the seeds folder. Another way to be selective about it is to type dbt seed space select and the file name that we want to load. Let's do the demo now. Create some sample data, and it's a Python program. And it's using Faker to actually create the three CSV files. We have a book CSV, we have a loan CSV, and we have a member CSV. We're in data directory, but I want to create or dbinit at the project directory. Okay, so I'm going to go up one and dbt init. Okay, and we have to give it a name, right? So we're going to call it library. And now it's going to create a directory for us. And it said it was created. We're going to have a library directory, and we're going to want to change to that. Okay, so I'm going to say open folder and change it to the libraries directory. And there we go. Now we're in the libraries directory. Okay, the dbt or the profile file is not here. We'll copy that over shortly. Let's go get the sample files that we just created, right? They're in a data directory. So we're going to go up one, data. We're going to grab books, going to hit type, going to hit the 3, right click, hit copy. Go up one, go to library, go to seeds, right click, hit paste. Okay, so there's our three files. And now we can go back to Visual Code, Studio Code, right? And if we go into seeds, we can see them and we click it, there's our data, okay? How do we check the project? The project is right here. It's saying that the profile is library and here's the path. And we'll talk about models in the future, but let's worry about seeding, okay? So we need a profile and we want to go up one, right? Because it's in library. We're going to paste it here, paste. And now we're going to rename it to profiles and configure it. So we're going to rename this to profiles. Okay. And we need to configure it. So after we go ahead and copy over the profiles, right, we want to set it up so that it points to SQL Server, our correct, namely Azure SQL Database server name, the database we're connecting to, the default schema part, this is the prefix. Okay, and then we'll add a postfix to it and get the whole schema. And or the root you can call this, and then there's username and password. Okay, I'll change that in the future so no one hacks me. And there's a couple things we want to talk about models in the future, but for now we're going to do seeds and we're going to tell it append raw to it, so it's going to be data.raw. Okay, so if we look at it right now, there's nothing there, there's nothing in there. And what we can do is to test that everything works correctly, we do dbt and then debug, right? And if we do dbt bug, it's going to go ahead and see if there's anything there. Now, right now, I don't have a log file. So it's going to run it and it's going to test the connection, and it did test correctly. And if we go into the log file, we can read whatever it does, right? This is all logging like, hey, connected to server, I'm using encryption, SQL Server authentication, all good stuff, right? And now, last but not least, we can seed just one table or we can seed them all, okay? So if we type seed, let's see if I can get it, just the books, okay, it's going to create just the books table. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at it and we should see it. Okay, that's done. And if we take a look and we hit refresh, we have only one book, but we know there's three different raw files we're bringing in. Again, typically, we don't use DBT for this unless you're doing, say, dimensions, right? And this is a perfect use of the seed file or seed command is to create dimensions, okay? So we're going to go back to here, and now we're going to run all three, right? So if we go back and just do a seed, it's going to run all three, and we'll see it. Thank you for attending this short video. Please see my upcoming articles on SQL Server Central for more information. Again, my name is John Miner, and you can reach me at john@craftydba.com.